action.
Wait. So wait means do not cross the boundary. I want to make sure she's on the loose leash. If she comes too far out, then I'm going to use the leash and pop her back until she's where she needs to be. Don't repeat commands. So I'm going to tell her wait once, and then I'm going to expect her to stay there. If she doesn't, I can tell her no. No means correction. Leash pop back until she stays there. If I want, I can tell her to wait again then, after I've corrected her, to remind her of what her task is. She does good. She's showing me that she can wait, and I can go up to her and I can give her a reward. Just because I give her a cookie doesn't mean that she's then to break. Now, if I always go to the end of my leash and I release her there, she's going to start to get antsy there. If she were to start to get antsy, I'd want to make sure that we wait longer until she's calm. Now she's a bit more settled, so I can release her from here. But I can also go up to her, tell her, okay, and pat my leg, and then she can come with me. The leash needs to stay loose. If I want her to respond to the leash, I'm going to use it and keep using it until she responds. If I need her to back up, come on, there we go. If I need her to back up, I'm going to pop straight back, and I'm going to keep those pops going until she responds. I'm not going to stop. Once she responds, then I'll stop. I'll tell her, good girl. And in the learning stages, in these beginning stages, we can give her a cookie. By the time she goes home, that will change, but right now, this is where we're at. If I go forward with her, she can stay with me. If she gets ahead, I'm going to stop and pop back until she's next to me again. Remember, there's an invisible line in front of my toes, which her toes need to stay behind. If my feet are still, her feet are still. If my feet stop here, her toes need to stop behind that line. So again, I start to go forward, I stop, pop back, she's behind there, good girl, and I can give her her cookie. If she gets her nose stuck on the ground, pop straight up. If she gets too far away from me, pop towards my body. So it's going to be towards me, back up, nose off the ground. Notice my hand position, how I'm using my arm for the correction. As long as we're walking, the leash needs to be loose. If I need to use the leash to change her position, I'm going to stop and then use the leash after I stop. Good. And again, I don't want to start going forward again until she's next to me and showing me that she's being patient and ready to go forward. Good girl. Good girl. Now, here we get into the problem is she's not facing the same direction I am. A couple of times, come here. Good. Sit. Wait. A couple of times she was even turned facing the opposite direction. Then we want to bring our hand closer to the dog on the leash. Bring her far behind us, towards us, and then forward, stopping her when she's got her toes behind ours. Again, Daisy. I'm going to bring my hand closer to the dog on the leash. I'm going to lead her behind me, towards me, and then up alongside me, stopping her before she passes me. So when her toes are behind my toes and she's facing the same direction that I am. Let's go. Again, when I start using the leash, I'm not going to stop using the leash until she responds. When she responds, I can tell her, good girl. Yeah, good girl. No? Good. Good girl. If she does a good job, then I can give her a cookie after I praise her. I want to make sure I do things one at a time so that way she's getting everything that I'm telling her. I'm going to tell her, good girl, and then give her the cookie instead of good girl and cookie at the same time. I want her to hear that good girl, feel good about it, and then get the cookie. Come on. So eventually when the cookies happen less and less, that praise still makes her have the same feeling as if she's going to have the cookie. And again, when we're walking and she's with me, her nose needs to stay off the ground. The sniff and stroll that we talked about, when she's that's fine. You can tell, okay. And now she can go out, she can sniff, we can walk, I can follow her, all of that. But when I actually want her to pay attention and walk with me, I need her to stay next to me and keep her nose off the ground and give me at least 51% of her attention. If her nose is on the ground, I guarantee you she's got at least 51% of her attention on those smells. Daisy, heel. And again, that was the same motion. Daisy. Gonna lead her back, towards me, and then forward. If she gets distracted, I'll start to use my leash until she responds. I'm not gonna stop prior to. If she gets ahead of me, I stop and pop until her her toes are behind my toes. Good. Good girl. Make sure that she's staying and waiting with me before I start to go forward. Good. Daisy, sit. Down. Good. So if I tell her sit, if I have to use the leash, it's going to be up until her butt is down. Once her butt is down, then my leash goes down. If I want her to down, and she doesn't do it right away, I'm gonna put my leash down until her elbows and hips are down, and then I can relax the leash again. Again, I don't wanna pull her into the down position. I just wanna apply pressure down until she goes with it. Good girl. Nope. Down, pressure down. Once the elbows are down, the pressure releases. Elbows are up, pressure is down. Elbows are down, pressure releases. Same thing. She's very distracted by whatever it is.
Penelope.
The pigs.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We're still going to say that your elbows have to be down. Good. Daisy, heel. And again, loose leash. The leash always must be loose. I want my arm to be relaxed, and I want there to be a slight bend in the bottom of the leash. If the leash is tight, there's one of three things. The dog is too far ahead of me, my arm is too far up, or the leash is too short. So make sure the leash is long enough, the arm is relaxed, and the dog is next to you. So that way, if I go to use my arm to give her some guidance or a correction with the leash, I don't have to do this number, right? That's going to be very ineffective. Good girl. Okay. Daisy. Good girl. Daisy. Good. The leash goes from loose to tight to loose. Daisy. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Super girl. Sit. Excellent. Heel, back towards me, and then forward. Daisy. Heel, back towards me, forward. Good girl. When I stop, a little pop back to make sure her toes stop behind mine. Again, back to a loose leash. When I use the leash, I don't stop using it until she responds. And when I'm asking her to stay in a heel with me, I need her nose to stay off the ground. Same thing, I go left, my arm is going to go away from me, backwards. Good. If I go away from her, my arm is going to come towards me, sideways. So the three positions that we're going to do with our arm is either going to be back, sideways, or up. Always going back to a loose leash. Good. In between. Probably call that good for now.